Hi, I'm Wes,
And I'm Stephanie.
and this is Maple Grove. This is a story of our little piece of property and us making it our home, our, our little slice of heaven. We're going to be building a house here very shortly. The past year, we've done a lot of groundwork, getting the driveway, getting the pond, building the barn. Still going to have to build a tractor shed, fencing, the house, of course. Stephanie wants to build some greenhouses. We do a lot of playing, a lot of traveling, so you'll probably see anything from dirt bikes and snowmobiles to flowers and wildlife, grandkids fishing.
Who knows?
Yeah.
This is just our way to document the story of us.
I like it. During a family trip to Disney World, we were looking at property while standing in line and happened upon this 10 acres about 15 minutes from our house. So we decided to go look at it once we got home, and we absolutely fell in love with it. Rode out there at night, caught the first sunset, and knew that was a place for us. So we started the process of purchasing it. That was the day we chose that was going to be our spot. And the morning of closing, we rode out there just to make sure everything felt right. And it did. So we went and signed the papers, and it was ours. So the following week, we went out there and got busy. Had to cut the grass for the first time. It hadn't been cut in a long time. There was stops and all kind of stuff. So it was fun. It was a long day, 13 hours, first time to cut the grass. We all got to play.
We had to teach me how to use the tractor.
Which that was fun too, but she did great. And this is what it looked like cleaned up the first time. We kind of guesstimated on the spot of the house, but it turned out pretty close to where it's going to end up, except it's a little crooked. And then the kids wanted to go out and show their friends and didn't realize that it was mushy back toward the back, and yeah, they got stuck. So we had to load the tractor up, go out there and rescue them.
This still is. This is still moving.
Yeah, it's still on.
No, I meant pulling them. Yeah.
It's still recording.
Okay.
Yeah, this is our first video, so
This was in the spring, so it had been we'd had lots of rain. But for girls that were driving a car out there to see the land, they weren't thinking, "Oh, it'll be mushy."
found out it was mushy. So he had to take a tractor selfie. And there's Laura's car all dirty. Our county actually puts in driveway accesses. We just have to buy the pipe. So we got the pipe and scheduled it with the county, and they came out and made it so we could actually drive onto our property and not have to drive through the neighbor's yard, which we had been doing. Fortunately, everybody was cool with that, but we just wanted our own. So It's getting there. This was right at 1 year ago from right now. And looking back on this, it's crazy to think we couldn't even get in our own property. But they made it so we could get in. And the first thing out was my old truck with the tractor. So then I started trying to dig the driveway with the little tractor. I I was hoping it would do better than it did. It didn't do bad, but it was going to take for absolute ever. But I was having fun. Stephanie's good with me going out and playing under the guise of work. So this was the first little section I got done, just trying to get the topsoil stripped down. And another one of our sunsets.
Became our favorite thing.
Yes.
Aww.
And this little dog here,
Our favorite dog.
he was a neighborhood dog. We called him Supervisor because he always showed up whenever I got there to work. Then the heavy hitter came out. Buddy of mine has a D4 dozer, and he offered it to us. So we had it at the property about 5 months, which was a godsend, especially in the Alabama heat. The air conditioning in the cab was welcome. So the driveway got cut in a little bit quicker. Chris actually did that for us. So then we had to make a rip in the Honda Talon. Trim down the driveway. And a little bump at the end. So then some friends of ours called and they were cutting down some oak trees and they were just going to throw the logs away. So we figured we'd save the logs and do something with them. And our first little visitor was a turtle and another sunset. Chris came back out to run the dozer. We cut the culvert under the driveway, trying to figure out how to get rid of all this water. And there was a big old wet spot out in the middle that we were actually going to just curve the driveway around. Chris also cut in the house pad for me, so I didn't have to do it. And we went out one night, happened up on some deer. Back in the woods, we found some rock. Thought that was all the rock we were going to get because the driveway dirt was absolutely rock free. So we started cleaning up back in the woods and caught another cool sunset. At this point, we started thinking probably going to have a barn to put some stuff in. So that was on the radar. So got the dozer down there, started pushing around where the water was coming through the yard. Turned out it was a little spring, which we didn't find that out till later. But started laying out for a pond just to keep from having to cut grass in a big old wet pasture. And the pond dig turned into a rock quarry. We didn't realize that we were going to find rocks like this and this.
Lots of rock.
Lots of rock. I was sending her pictures every day. Look at the one that popped up today. And it was multiples all the time. We had rocks and rocks and rocks. But they were some really cool looking rocks. And we've actually used a lot of them around the property. We've had some friends come get some. We still have a ton. And we have projects lined up for the ones that we do have. Our son JD helped me get a bunch of the rocks out, but yes, the pond dig looked more like a quarry. So then it was time to cut in the overflow pipe for the pond. Barely got it done in time. The stars out there are amazing. But yes, the rains came, filled the pond up, wasn't quite ready for water, so we had to pump it all out.
This was about September?
Something like that.
Supervisor enjoyed it.
Yes, that's why we called him Supervisor. He was always watching me work. He was always the first to greet us whenever we got there. But yes, had chert on the driveway by that point, and it wasn't packed in, so everything sunk. But once it dried out, we got back to pushing dirt and back to finding rocks. You'll see that rock again here shortly. But the dozer definitely came in handy. That is a big slab that we actually parked our car on one night, and we ended up having to leave it in there because I just didn't want to keep being rough on somebody else's dozer to get every bit of rock out. So we left that in the bottom of the pond. But that's some of the rock. And I pushed out a pad for the barn and started getting the structure stuff for the barn so we could actually start going up with it. And I didn't like how this was loaded. And my intuition was correct because when a car pulled out in front of me, I had to hit the brakes. The load shifted, came through the back of the truck, and almost took me out. But luckily, the seat stopped it. So then it came time to set the first post in the barn. And yeah, you guessed it. I was trying to push the post up. She was running the tractor and hit the loader control and got me on the head with the bucket, but everything's okay. We worked late that night, got the rest of the post set, came back the next morning, they were still up. And this is why it's called Maple Grove. Back in the woods, we were riding along and noticed that there were maple trees everywhere. So the name kind of fits, Maple Grove. And there's supervisor, hanging out like always. Mm-hmm. And then the rains came again. More mud, more pumping. And that's actually where the spring comes through the bottom of the pond. One day pushing rocks, I turned around and it was a dry day and there was water coming up through the ground. So we realized that was a spring. So we tried to control the water as much as we could and actually got the pond finished, and it's holding water. I know. It's just, we love it up there. But yeah, more rocks. Another drone shot just to show the progress. This is on the other side of the driveway from the pond where the culvert goes under the driveway. And we actually built a rock bridge out of some of the large stones that we found. And she was following me back in the woods. We were doing a little bit of cleanup back there, trying to open a spot up. That corner back there is the best place to watch the sunset because it's in our southwest corner. And you can peek through the trees from the neighbor's pasture, and the sunsets are absolutely gorgeous. We call it Sunset Corner. Had a buddy of mine's little dump truck so we could haul stuff out of the woods. And their supervisor followed me out of the woods. Same guy with the dump truck has this little skid steer, so we used it, try to level off some of the barn pad, and then JD was helping me put the trusses up on the barn, and his buddy Garrison came out and went off spider monkey on us. Mm-hmm. JD put in some work getting that barn done. It took us a week to get all the structure up. But that man lift made all the difference in the world. If you're going to build your own barn, go ahead and spend money. It's a lot safer and it's a work saver. And a buddy of mine has a concrete company. He came out, formed it and gravelled it. We put the pins in the posts. And they actually came out and poured the concrete wall. We were both at work. So we went out a little bit later and the concrete was done and we could actually sign the posts. And we stayed for another sunset. Mm-hmm. Another buddy of ours has a metal company, so he came out. They got the roof done first. And then the red tin for the sides came. And while they were doing that, I jumped back on the dozer and figured I'd cut us a backyard. There's a field terrace behind where the house is going, so rather than having just a terrace going in the back of the house, we talked about it, cut down a flat spot back there so we could actually have a flat backyard, and we used some of those rocks to build a wall back there. Just made us a little flat spot. And they got the metal finished up on the barn. And then came the door incident. I was up on a ladder and the metal door uncoiled itself and I almost took my arm off. So once got that done, we finished it up, was able to lock the barn up. I had stitches in my arm for 8 weeks. So then it was back on the dirt, trying to get the pond dam smoothed down, get all the rocks off of it. Got it all tracked in with the dozer, making pillows. Lifted up the overflow pipe because I didn't want to try to make a joint that was going to leak. So we threw out some grass seed. All right, it's time to do something with that rock. Figured it'd be a nice driveway stone, so we dug a little slot, stacked some stones up behind it, pulled it up vertical with the dozer, packed everything in. You can see how big it is. Then we transplanted my late wife's Japanese maple next to the stone. So when you turn in the driveway, you see the stone, you can see Becca's maple. Thanksgiving weekend, the family came out to see the place for the first time. Somebody's over eating pretzels. All right, it's time to start getting the barn situated so we can get some storage in it and actually use it. Had some pallet racks, got them put up, tractor in place, and then we just hung out into the evening. So went back to the woods. As you can see, I'm all over the place. I do a little bit here and a little bit there. But we're back in the woods, cleaned up a little more, did some mulching, got down to dirt, worked on the dirt roads a little bit. And about this time, popped in my head, a whole bunch of us grown folks need to race go-karts. So I was actually mapping the place out, set up a go-kart course, and then we got more rain. That was the story of our finishing the pond up. We got most of it done while it was dry. And then once the rain did set in, it rained and rained and rained. I think we pumped the pond out, 4 times?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot.
But full disclosure, the kids weren't the only ones that got stuck. We were parking one of the trailers back in the woods, and the topsoil was nice and mushy. So I had to call the neighbor to go get the tractor, and he came back there and pulled us out. Somebody was laughing at me. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, it's crazy what a little 25 horsepower tractor will do. It'll pull 8,000 pound truck out of the mud, but didn't have any trouble. But another one of our sunsets, and there's our little stone bridge. The overflow pipe was still sticking up. I put a little more curve on it, give us a little more area to be able to cut it down. So I was playing with the drone, and for some reason it dipped down really close to the water. I almost lost it that day, but here it is. Water's all muddy from coming across all the ground that didn't have grass on it yet, but it was getting close to being full. There's a little bridge. Then it froze. It froze really good. So I figured that was a good time for us to slide the Christmas trees out on it. And then the snow came. So we got to go play a little bit in the snow. That was before I'd taken that T-post down. It was in the camera. And of course, there's supervisor checking things out for us.
Yeah, when it rained a little bit more, the pipe tended to float. So I knew I was going to have to deal with that. But in the meantime, we finally got some gravel. This was after the first load. So we were going to be able to go back and forth without getting absolutely muddy. That first pass was rough. Got Did a good job tailgate spreading it, but it was still a little on the bumpy side, as you can tell. It's just nice to finally be up out of the mud and the chert. Had all those rocks on the side we had to deal with. I always had that little section of dirt right there at the end. I didn't get that dealt with until here recently. But that was me when I had to paddle out to cut the pipe off. Stephanie still laughs about me kayaking out with a chainsaw. But when the rain came, and the pipe, it actually floated because the air and the little corrugation thing. So I ended up having to go out in the pond. It was 40 degrees with the chainsaw and cut the pipe off so it didn't overflow the bank, which it actually did overflow the bank, but it didn't wash away. But once I got the pipe cut off, the water went everywhere. We had so much water coming out of that. That is a 15-inch pipe coming out of that, and it's pretty much solid. But we've got it calculated out, so we've got about 9 acres that drains under the stone bridge, under the driveway, going to the pond. So we have plenty of water coming into the pond. But that means there's plenty of water going out of the pond too. But it eventually stopped and it dried up. We're able to get back to work. There's another one of our sunsets. Just love the little bridge. But the animals started showing up. Had all kind of birds and turtles and a little bit of everything showing up. This goose stayed for about 3 months. Didn't know if it was nesting or if it was just hanging out, but it stayed a long time before it found another place to go. And it talked to us. Sometimes it'd have a friend. And this little cedar tree got damaged whenever we took a hackberry down, so we figured it was probably best to go ahead and finish taking it down. Cleaned up the fence row so you can see the pond and everything from the road. But my phone fell off the tractor and went through the flail mower. And then the grandkids came out and helped us stock fish. We put bluegill and minnows in the pond, and then they spent the next hour throwing rocks. We had a ball throwing rocks. And another one of our sunsets. A little barn sitting over there. So I got a bunch of the brush piled up, called some buddies, and we had us a bonfire. Just hung out till about 1 o'clock in the morning. Watched it burn. Then I started cleaning up the side of the pond dam, just getting the curve a little bit better. And this is our last picture that we got of Supervisor. He got run over. Now, do a little more work on the driveway. And more of our wildlife showing up.
I can't wait to have a chair to sit there. Drink my coffee in the mornings or the evenings.
Just watch everything come and go. We finally got our septic permit, and we got more rain. It's seriously one of the big storylines was battling rain, pumping water. Have awesome neighbors. One of them brought a pump over to us. In the spot where I cleaned up the pond wall, there was a little flat spot, and the bluegill have actually turned it into spawning habitat. And there are, what was it, 40 something
Yeah, I think so.
little nesting sites. And they're all growing good. We've only seen one that didn't make it, and I think we put 500 in. There's probably been a few getting caught by turtles and birds and stuff, but there's only one on the side. But yeah, these little boogers are quick. Stuck the GoPro in the water, and one of them checked it out. And then we saw our snake.
First snake for me.
And got some more gravel. And these are all the critters that show up on the cameras around the property. We got all kind of stuff showing up. The neighbor's horse got out one day. Got all kind of deer. Another one of the neighbor's horses got out, hung around by the barn.
They like to come over and visit.
Yes, they do. Got the good clean grass. Yeah. We got almost as many deer as we do rock. Then we had a little bobcat show up.
He's our new visitor.
And a little rabbit. A little sneak peek of what the place is going to look like after we get the house built. So, there you have it. That's the first year.
Well, that's a fitting sunset for our 1 year recap and kick off at Maple Grove.
Thank you for watching. God bless.